Welcome to this session of Straight Drive. I'm Sudhanshu Mani. Namaskar. Friends, there has been a very disturbing happening, a very unfortunate incident last Monday on 26th. The armed police of Assam and the armed police of Mizoram clashed, and it was not just a minor clash. 6 Jawans of Assam police lost their lives and several others were injured from both sides. To my mind, this kind of an armed confrontation between the police of 2 states of independent India has never taken place. There have been issues, there have been minor confrontations between 2 states on various issues like river dispute, there have been blockades, sometimes about the border also, and so on. But this kind of an confrontation, almost like a war, has never happened. So we must understand the background as to what immediately fired this incident and what's the way forward. What are the failures from which we must learn? So to talk about this conflict, we have Anand Vardhan Singh with me today. Welcome, Anand. And I will begin with the simplest question, as I said. This is unprecedented.
Yes.
So there must be a background. So please tell our viewers as to what's the background of this dispute and more about the conflict as such. Yeah.
And I will add one more adjective: unprecedented and tragic and unfortunate. Because for a country which has so much of diversity, we must learn how to live in this diversity. First of all, please understand the size of Assam and Mizoram. Assam has 33 districts and population of 3.5 crores. Out of 7 sisters, the eldest sister has 3.5 crores of population.
Right.
Mizoram is the youngest sister. Out of those 7 sisters, is the youngest sister, 13 lakh. Population is 13 lakh with 11 districts. Now, it is more or less equivalent to 1 district of Assam, more or less, I'm telling you.
Yes.
If you have 33 districts and 3.5, it is more or less 1 district of Assam. So the dispute is between the eldest and the youngest. Youngest or I'm not using the
smallest also perhaps.
I'm not using the word the smallest because everyone has his own identity.
Right.
And as far as India is concerned, both are beautiful, both are important, and both have their own strategic importance for the India as a nation. Now, the root of all this is in a border dispute. And both being primarily a tribal population, they have a lot of things to do with the forest.
Yes.
Now, in 1875, then British government, under the Bengal East Frontier Regulation Act of 1873, demarcated the boundaries. And that time, the plains are called Kachar, which is a Kachar district today, and this was Lushai Hills. This Mizoram today, it was Lushai Hills, generally speaking. Now, our demarcation of boundaries were done in consultation with the Mizo tribal chiefs.
Okay.
They were taken into confidence. They were told by this is the way it is. We are demarcating the boundaries and things like that. And they were taken into confidence. There was no problem. Then in 1933, they again drew boundaries under Government of India Act and things like that. This time, the mistake was there was no consultation with the Mizo tribe. Now, they felt that they were neglected, or they have a reason to say that we were not consulted and the things were demarcated. And in that demarcation, primarily it is a pull and push because of that forest area. It all started from there. Then today people at times ask why in the independent India this dispute was not resolved.
Right.
And which is a valid question. It is also said that when Mizoram was created on 20th January 1972, why the boundaries were not settled.
Right.
People have to understand the history and under the circumstances when the Mizoram was created. Along with Mizoram, please remember, we created Arunachal Pradesh as well. Created, or you can say we renamed NEFA as Arunachal Pradesh. Now, this was done on 20th January 1972. India has divided Pakistan. Bangladesh came into being in December 1971. Now, someone may say, what was the hurry to take care of your northeastern borders? Because all these fighting, the major thing was happening in the eastern side of India. The one and only reason was China was always disturbing India as far as NEFA was concerned. They were claiming NEFA, then they had their own problems, their insurgencies were there, they were encouraging Nagas and things like that. I'm not going into those details. After 1971 war, Indira Gandhi knew that China, we were always, because the IB always, the intelligence always used to come, if you do anything in NEFA, China will attack or something like that. China will come and things like that. Indira Gandhi knew after 1971 war, कि China, who for the strongest ally, which you call the fastest friend, Pakistan, they never stood by them.
Right.
It is in history that today they call themselves that we are the most trusted friend of Pakistan. They never stood when the crisis for Pakistan was there.
Right.
So Indira Gandhi knew the character of China.
Right.
And she knew that if she renames NEFA and make it a state and things like that, a union territory at that point of time, China will not say a word. And diplomatically, it was the right thing to do. So when Arunachal Pradesh and Mizoram came as union territory, it was done hurriedly, there is no doubt about it. But one must understand that it was done keeping the international things in mind.
So one must acknowledge the wisdom and the resolve of Indira Gandhi, which we, unfortunately, that kind of resolve we don't see today, but that's not the subject here. So there was a border dispute which remained, and it's been there for almost 50 years now. Maybe there were minor exchanges here and there. Suddenly, now both the states have NDA governments. One is, of course, BJP in Assam and NDA government in Mizoram. Things have been simmering for some time. I understand there was a Twitter war also going on.
Yes.
Between the two states.
Between the two chief ministers.
Two chief ministers. I don't think in such a situation, police can go and solve this. So the first mistake to my mind is police of one state goes there and tries to interfere with the citizens, then the police of other state comes in, then there is a CRPF post there which is directly under the central government. So, and there must have been some intelligence. Whatever happened, but for it to result in police killing each other is, what do you say about that?
I will also come, what is happening, not only these two states, the entire northeast. And we generally say those 7 states plus Sikkim also.
Yeah.
Because Sikkim is again a alter ego of India, because Indira Gandhi, the way it was a protected state and then the way it became part of India and things like that. One has to salute Indira Gandhi. Yeah. We have been critic of Indira Gandhi as far as emergency is concerned, but as far as the Rashtriyata, what today they call, and the nationality which she displayed was unparalleled. Now, all these 8 states have a BJP government in 4 states and an NDA government in the rest of the board.
Yeah.
So, as the BJP leadership says that Congress का सफाया कर दिया है. Now, जब Congress का सफाया कर दिया है, तो by any stretch of imagination, Congress is not responsible for this one. Yes, the country, we got freedom in 47, then there was things were going on, Congress was in power, those are taken care of. But today the decision making is to be done by the double engine government, like BJP in center, BJP there, and mind it, people also are forgetting there is a thing called Northeast Development Alliance, NEDA.
Right.
whose convener is Mr. Hemant Biswa Sarma, who is the current Chief Minister of Assam. What I am trying to...
Yeah, so I would like to add something here. So we have today what is called a strong government
Center.
at the center, and we have a strong home minister at the center.
Yes, strongest.
Strongest. It's both NDA governments.
Yes.
CRPF is also there. In such a situation, it should be very easy for him to resolve it. Even if it is not resolved, how can it result in this kind of a conflict? This is beyond understanding.
I will also, one must also see something. He's not only a very heavyweight home minister, he's also the I will say after the prime minister, he's the strongest BJP leader. Today anything is happening, who is going to become the chief minister of Karnataka, he decides. When UP chief minister goes, he calls him and then sorts things for UP. Something is happening in Bihar, he is the person who is there. When something is happening in Bengal, he is the person who is there. So politically, he is the most strongest person also.
Right.
He's not a lightweight. He's not. I will not take name because most of lightweights are there. But he's a strong home minister with a lot of political clout. Why I'm telling political clout? Because all these 8 states are end of the day they are led by a political party or a political leadership. So he's a heavyweight. Now I personally squarely think that the home minister is responsible for all this. I will tell you, I will give you 2 examples. If you remember, about 2-3 years back, there was something happened in Calcutta when the CRPF versus West Bengal police happened. I am forgetting the name of the gentleman who was the police commissioner, Vijay Kumar or Vijay Singh or something was there. And then there was something was happening, and then Mamata Banerjee
I remember,
stood behind her police commissioner, and then they say we will arrest it, and then CRPF and things like that. And even during the CA&RC thing, when Amit Shah was touring West Bengal, he used to go and stay in CRPF guest house, not in the normal state guest house. Why I am telling this is that this is also somehow encouraging CRPF versus police. Number 1. Number 2, if you remember, before Bihar elections, there was a Sushant Singh Rajput thing.
Right.
And the Bihar police went to Mumbai, arrested or interrogated few people, and there was people said how it can happen. If you have to come to Maharashtra, interrogate some people, you have to take into confidence as per rule the local police, which they never did. No, this all was going on.
Right.
Like if you encourage encounter,
Right.
if you say ki thok do is my policy, someday that thok do will be counterproductive. Same way police versus police, if someone is using, and everyone knows why this Bihar election that police went up right up to Mumbai, everyone knows.
So it's a double-edged sword. I remember, you see, the central armed forces can be used with political motives.
Yes.
The only armed institution in the country which is perceived, and I'm sure it is, neutral, is the army. If you remember, because we are both from UP, in 70s the PAC, the armed revolted, and situation come to a state where the army had to be called in to rein in the revolting PAC. It was not some other central armed forces. So if this was the situation, army which functions under the defense ministry, if things were really going out of the hand, why CRPF? They should have used an army if it had to be an armed conflict.
You are adding to what I am telling.
Yeah.
There is a CRPF post.
Yeah.
I mean that border has a CRPF post, and which is directly under Home Ministry.
Yes.
Now, the terms of reference of that CRPF post with people posted there is that there should not be any altercation between these two, because it is always a bone of contention.
Right.
They say this is border. The auto rickshaw going there will park on the Assam side. Assam side will say you have to park it on the Mizoram side. This all, and this place is called Verengete. Spelling might be it is VAIR something, Verengete. And that that side is the Kachar district of, and this is the entry point.
Okay. To Mizoram from Assam
From
for all the
Assam.
Bhutan. Yes.
Now people today again are not able to understand why army was not called, or Assam Rifles, which is under Defence Ministry,
Defence
which
Ministry.
is the central paramilitary force. So
Yeah.
ideally, if there was a problem, because 2 days it happened on Monday, our Home Minister visited on Friday or Saturday. He visited the Northeast. Maybe for the, to my memory, maybe for the first time as a Home Minister, not for an election thing, because otherwise he visits a state where election is going to happen. Most of his last visits, if you say, he goes to West Bengal and things like that. But to my memory, he visited Northeast. He had a Chief Minister conference in Canberra, 1-to-1. So a Home Minister is talking 2 days before. So, and his intelligence fails to tell that something is going
like
to
this. Yeah. So one last question very briefly. So we know what happened and why it was not handled properly, should have been handled better. But how do you see it going forward from now? They say that more CRPF has been sent and so on. And
look, both the sides. One must understand the tribal side. The tribal, one state, Nagaland, has about 21 lakh or 22 lakh of population, and they have 30 recognized tribes.
Right.
Who says that they will have the final say in the negotiations and things like that. One must also understand that Nagaland has that 371 Article 371 privileges, which Article 370 was taken away for Jammu Kashmir. They still have. Now, one has to understand the tribal identity, and that tribal people think, work in a very different way. Their tribal identity is the most important thing in their life.
Yeah.
Look, the Northeast people are more modern. Most of the Northeast leaders you will find in tie and coat and things like, maybe because of the Christianity thing, maybe the way they handle, but otherwise also they are more modern.
Yeah.
But when it comes to their culture, they are not ready to leave their culture the way we live.
Right.
In your culture and
the
my
identity,
culture, we have a small thing of keeping a choti.
Yeah.
None of us keep.
Yeah.
And it is more important. You should have been outcasted from your caste if you're not keeping choti. But the way it is.
Yeah.
Now they stick to their culture. What is happening today? The central government has to understand that it is not Hindu Muslim. CA and RC they did in Assam. The basic idea was to identify Bangladesh Muslims who cross over to India, and then they should be told that you go back, because Hindu Bangladeshis can be kept here. That is why the CA and RC thing came. But they don't think in Hindu Muslim terms. They think in tribal terms. For them, their tribal thing is much bigger than the religion also.
Right.
So, the only way forward is it has to be on table. They have to negotiate, give something, take something. Because Hemant Biswal says that I will post 3 battalions or 3 in these border districts, and he's also giving extra incentives to the people who are posted there.
Right.
He has given 50 lakhs to the people who have been killed, 1 lakh people who have been injured, and extra 1 month pay all to the personnel who are posted on the border.
Right.
Now this somehow I feel this
sends a wrong signal.
And central government must intervene. It is not something which you just keep it there. Go there, talk to them, and we must have a beautiful India which we should be proud of. We are proud of that Northeast, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, so viewers, don't meddle with tribal identity. When 2 states have a dispute, don't let it simmer. The way forward is through negotiations only, and not by deploying police and showing your strength. But that is something that cannot happen between 2 states if India, as Anand says, has to remain beautiful. Thank you very much. This is what it is for today. we'll be meeting again next Friday in Straight Drive. Namaskar.
अगर आपको दी पब्लिक के कार्यक्रम पसंद आते हैं तो इन्हें लाइक करें। अगर आप इस वीडियो को YouTube पर देख रहे हैं तो चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें, और अगर आप इसे Facebook पर देख रहे हैं तो दी पब्लिक के पेज को लाइक करें। अगर आप चाहते हैं कि हम निष्पक्ष पत्रकारिता को जारी रखते हुए आपसे जुड़े मुद्दों पर सवाल उठाते रहें तो हमें सहयोग करें। आपका छोटा से छोटा सहयोग भी इस मुहिम को जारी रखने में हमें ताकत देगा। डोनेट करने के लिए डिटेल्स जो हैं वो डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में दी गई हैं। धन्यवाद।